Robinson, back again. I'm here to give a review of a movie called Clash of the Criminals. Now, unlike some of the people on YouTube, I was not asked to review this film. I'm not hurt, but I think he asked some people that he knew on YouTube. But I just felt I should review it. I was recommended this movie. I want to say I was recommended to this movie by a guy named CGA Swan. But I watched Clash of the Criminals, which was filmed in Platteville, Wisconsin, by DM Pictures, 2009, or just DM Pictures. Now, as an independent filmmaker myself at this point, wanted to become a big filmmaker. I felt kind of, I'm not sure what the word I'm looking for is, but I felt a connection to this film because I know what it's like to make an independent film. And especially when you want to do something ambitious, when you have an ambitious storyline. And I'm going to review it in a second, but I just think one thing I want to say is that I want to do more reviews like this where I'm reviewing independent films, because watching this independent film really was a nice experience, a fun experience for me. And I think there really is no channel on YouTube devoted to reviewing independent films of this side, basically student films. Basically, or zero budget films. I know we have Indy Mogul, but the fact is, Indy Mogul actually over the past few years, even though it's still focused a lot on helping independent filmmakers create special effects, it's really lost the side of, hey, let's really connect with the independent filmmakers. While it helps them, it doesn't ever really review student films. It's more it's focused on actually the bigger films. And I can't blame them. I'm not saying that as a criticism of Indy Mogul. Do not get me wrong. But I think there needs to be something that's really more for the really indie level of the film in this country on YouTube. So anyway, that's a roundabout way to say this is going to be a review of Clash of the Criminals. Now, it was tough for me to decide if I should rate this as a regular Hollywood picture like I do with the rest of the movies, or kind of equate it based on the fact that it's an independent film, and I decided to rate it like it's an independent film, because rating it as an actual Hollywood movie is unfair, and it would be a very low score, and I don't want to give this movie a low score. So there are things it could work on. The movie stars David Moore, who plays Eric Snipes, or Sniper, in this film, and the basic concept of this film is that a big criminal boss named Clint Steele wants to get a new right-hand man. And he's got this, I guess, kind of twisted kind of mind where he just likes seeing people destroy themselves. So he gets some of the 5 best criminals in the world to come against each other. And it's almost kind of like the Condemned in a way, where they have to fight each other, and the winner or survivor becomes his new right-hand man. And that doesn't last long, because Sniper doesn't like Clint Steele, and he doesn't like it being blackmailed into fighting these other assassins and criminals. So he gets the other criminals to work alongside with him, and they go after Clint Steele. It's a very short film. It's only about 20 minutes long. There's a link in the description bar where you can go and view the movie. I would recommend that you do. And it's not perfect. The concept and storyline is good, and I feel, especially for a short film with limited resources, did a good job. I was actually surprised at some of the stuff they were able to do. They had a great scene in Uno Pizzeria. They were able to get them to let them use their establishment. And Super 8 Motel, they got to actually use a motel, which is very cool and something that I've always wanted to do in a movie, and I've never really had the guts to do. And that he went, it shows to me that for the producer and director that he had the guts to go out and say, I'm just going to go to this hotel and see if they'll let me film this shoot, or if I can pay money for a night, or I don't know what he did or what the budget was for this film, how he did that, but it was good, and I'm glad that he was ambitious enough to try this project, even if it fails in some places. The biggest downside for this movie would have to be the acting. And I don't want to rip the actors, because I work with a lot of people who aren't professional actors, and it's fine. You're working on an independent film, and it's great that you have friends that are willing to take time out of their day and work with you on a project, because that's really special. And that's a good friendship, and that's a cool thing, and years from now you're going to look back on this video, and you're going to have great memories about it. David Moore plays Eric Snipes. He's adequate in his role. He looks the part in some ways. Some of his was a little stale. In particular, when he's with, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right, Tamara Manelli. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. when he's with her and they're doing a scene. It seemed very it seemed too stiff. It didn't seem like there was any kind of connection there or link. I like the James Bond references. I like the choice of music they used. Even though the editing could also use some work, I can't talk too much about editing because with my own film, sometimes editing, is something that you only get to shoot maybe a couple times because people have stuff to do. You're not being paid. You're on a tight schedule, and you don't always get the shot that you really want. And so editing, sometimes that happens. You can't really reshoot a scene oftentimes with independent films of this size. So I understand. This movie, the ending, it kind of falls apart. Obviously, there's going to be a sequel. Apparently, that's what I hear. So hopefully there will be one because the ending kind of hurts the film. There has a good fight scene, and then there's one kind of lackluster fight scene. And I don't want to rip this guy because a lot of guys have been ripping on Curtis Vanson, who plays Mr. Speed. And first of all, Mr. Smee, as the name of a villain, is hilarious. So props on that one, because I was cracking up when I heard that his code name was Mr. Smee. And you know what? Yeah, it's not the greatest. He's not the greatest actor, but he looked the part, and that was important. And you know what? Okay, I kind of suspended my disbelief for a second with the guy who was kind of smaller and everything. I would have liked, but I don't want to be too nitpicky about this film because it was an independent film. And I think the strong point was definitely the concept, and definitely the fact that just he was able to get these locations that a lot of independent filmmakers aren't able to get because either one, they're too scared like I am, or two, they don't have the connections, and that you're able to get those locations and you're able to put the work in to get those locations speaks a lot to your motivation and your drive, and props on that one. A couple scenes didn't make sense. The jaw scenes, as cool as it was, didn't make sense. I think even though this was a short film, I think we should have had a little more aspect of the fact that they were going against each other. I think Eric Snipes had the idea to go against Clint Steele just a little too early in the film. I know it's only 20 minutes, but it just felt kind of like all of a sudden he was just there. There was never a transition. He just automatically hated Clint Steele, and he automatically wanted to get rid of him. And Clint Steele hated him and didn't like him. It'd be more interesting, I think, maybe if Clint Steele liked Eric Snipes, and Eric Snipes was his top choice. So when Eric Snipes was coming after him, it'd be more of a surprise. But that's being nitpicky. That's inserting my own opinion into your film. It's your vision. It's what you want to do. But overall, I'm going to give this film, on a scale from the independent level, I will give this film a 74 out of 100. There's a lot of work that needs to be done, which I think can be improved in the sequel. And the great thing about filmmaking is it's a very trial and error kind of business. The more you make movies, the better you're going to get at it. Trust me, I'm speaking from experience and speaking from 6 years of making films. You will get a lot better. Alright, well, I hope you see this review. I hope you take my advice. I hope other people see this review. And I hope other people check out the film. It's only 20 minutes. You can give 20 minutes of your time to go see it. Watch this on YouTube. It's free, So remember to rate, comment, subscribe. And until next time, it's all in the hair.